Welcome back to Indiana Newsdesk. More than 1/3 of the proposed state funding hike for Indiana schools could go toward the state's private school voucher program under a Republican-backed plan that could boost the program's costs by nearly 50% over the next 2 years. Now, Republicans tout the voucher expansion proposal as giving parents more choices over how to educate their children, while Democrats and other opponents argue that it further drains funding from traditional school districts.
Now is not the time to divert any of our funding from public education, where about 94% of our students are educated. We're in the throes of a pandemic which challenges technology, teaching techniques, student and parent supports, and workforce issues.
The bill is headed to the Senate for further debate. We're joined now by Steve Hennefeld, an adjunct instructor at the Indiana University Media School who writes about K-12 education for the independent site School Matters. Hello, Steve. Thanks so much for being here. School vouchers, again, a hot topic at the State House. Now, proponents of the school choice expansion bill say it gives parents more control over their children's education. Isn't that a good thing?
Well, it's certainly a good thing for parents to be more involved with and more engaged with their children's education. And, to a certain extent, it makes a lot of sense for parents to be making decisions about their children's education. I think there are questions from a policy perspective that you can raise about whether parents should have absolute control over their children's education when it's funded by the public and thought of as a public good, a public benefit, something that benefits all of us and not just an individual benefit for the parent or the child.
What are some of the issues Democrats have with the bill?
Well, I think, as you mentioned, the cost is really a major issue, that this would eat up about a third, actually more than a third, I think close to 40% of the budgeted increase in funding for schools. It's all one pot of money, and so the more money that's going to private schools through vouchers, the less money that's going to public schools. So that's a big part of it. And then the other part of it is just, I think, the policy question of whether it's appropriate for the state to be funding religious education, private education, that it doesn't really have that much, that's not as accountable to the public. And finally, that this is a benefit that would be going to middle and upper income residents, families, not to low income families.
We just have a few seconds left. The state school voucher program has been around for a decade. Has it been a success?
It's been a success at helping private schools, most of which are religious schools, helping families who want their children to have a religious education at those particular schools. Academically, not so much so. Research has shown that the students who get vouchers are not doing as well as students who remain in public schools.
All right. Steve, thank you very much for being on the show. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Joe.